Standing on three legs. That is essentially how my life was between 2016 and 2019. These were the years when I was studying in Germany and I was trying to figure out how to put everything in place, and that is the university, my part-time job, and also the business that I started. Now, if you really think about it, for many people, sometimes university itself is a full-time thing. I'm going to the university, I don't want to do anything else, I don't want to take any kind of part-time job, I don't want to start any kind of side business, whatever. I just want to focus on university. Now, it could mean that they are putting so much time and intensity inside the university alone that they have to really go deep into the subjects and they have to be the next generation scientist or something. Could be, but most of the times that's not really the case, and that means that many of the people who are just doing university alone, they have a lot more time still on their hand to do some other things. So what do people do with the other things? They pick up a side job, and once they pick up the side job and the university, the culture that I saw in Germany which was very prevalent, was that if I'm doing university and I'm doing a part-time job, I will be taking longer to finish my master's, which was not really something that I could understand, because yes, you're spending a lot of time at the job and stuff, you have 20 hours less at least in a week, and also the time to the commute and then coming back and going around, so this can take a little bit longer. So according to that logic, yes, if I'm doing university and I'm doing a part-time job, it should take me longer than 2 years, which is the Regelstudienzeit or the standard study duration. So, okay, I could understand that. But I still think, again, even in this time, you can manage things better so that you still have some time for yourself, you still have some time for your hobbies, or to build the third leg that I was speaking about. The third leg is going to essentially help you to support yourself in times of uncertainties, essentially the times that we are seeing right now. And this could be, for many people it was freelancing, for many people it was drop shipping, it was website development and doing video editing, doing so many different things in this gig economy that we have right now. So it wasn't really something that you always have to start a YouTube channel. I actually met so many more people. I think I met 3 or 4 people whom I spoke to who were into drop shipping, into video editing, had their own multiple other these employees whom they were not employees but more like contractors, because if you're again having an employee, you have to pay the entire social contribution, have to register to the finance and things like that. So they were just doing it on the contract basis. So that was also very, very interesting, because people were still building these structures while they were in the university. So many people who are especially into the IT field, they go ahead and they start building their own apps, and they start then partnering up with people from the business schools or their business colleagues and so on, so that they are able to take care of the marketing side, things like that. So I definitely believe that this wasn't really something that needs to be done full-time alone. If you have a set time frame, for example, if I really look back onto the time, I will be 28 now in a week, which already feels like a grandpa age. But if you take a look at this age range, from 20s to 30s, this is really the time where you can try as many things as possible, because every single year which gets added on top of that, your desire, your courage to take more risks just keeps on declining. So this is the reason I believe that doing just one thing alone, for 50% of this duration, for example, you're starting from 20 and you're doing your master's and your bachelor's, and you're finishing, let's say, till 25 or 24 or something, it's almost 50% of the time frame that you have. And in this time frame, you have only done one thing. So you don't really have an idea of how other things might look like for you, which really leaves you at a disadvantage, because if you would be trying these 3, 4, 5 different things at the same time, and you're able to kind of manage it in a way that, how do you manage it in a way? So that's essentially what I also wanted to speak about. So the best way to manage it is not really by a schedule. I mean, maybe it works for some people. For me, it never really worked. I would try to, there were so many phases when I would come back motivated. I was okay, I'm going to have this Google Calendar. I'm going to block the calendar by time and so on. It would work only to see which classes I have in the university. Around it, it wouldn't really work. So I think when you are setting up a schedule and you're trying to do multiple things at the same time, you really have to see which one of these things are needing the most priority at the moment, and what kind of things you can maybe push along a little bit further and come back to them later. So you have to be a little bit more flexible, because what I've learned is in the longer run, if you are too rigid with these things, it might work for you for a week or 2 weeks or something, but as soon as some birthday party comes in, you have to go out with the friends or something, or like you have to go to a family function, whatever, like once these things start coming in, everything starts falling apart. And another problem that people which have a rigid structure face is that they feel like if they did one thing wrong, the entire schedule doesn't make sense anymore, the entire day doesn't make sense anymore, so I'm going to start tomorrow, today is screwed anyways. Which is also a very stupid way of thinking about things, because like these 24 hours you have, once they evaporate, you are never going to get them again. So in these 10 years, whatever time you have left, I think you should really try to make the most of it. And I would also completely already foresee this, that most of the people would not have the mindset or the understanding to be that mature, because like think about it, like we're just like, we turn 18, we just get a driving license, we want to like do things, we want to travel around, we want to like just see so many different things, and then at the same time you're telling me that I also have to worry about all these three different things and see like how do I figure these things out better. But I mean, like, it really is about how much you want to delay the satisfaction of like living a nice life. For me, it was very important, and I think like it kind of started with some of the worst phases that we had in our life together, where Alina and we were living together, and we had to go to the state and like, you know, ask for some support and stuff. And I think we received support for 3 months, 200 euros per month. But for those 3 months, I was going every single day, not every single day, but every second week to the job center, so that like they see, okay, like, you know, what are my qualifications and stuff, where can I apply for jobs, things like that. And it wasn't that I didn't have a job. I had a job, but the job was starting in November. And I moved to Germany, I think in August or something, and we were like living together, so it was considered a one household. So that was something very interesting that happened to us. So at that time I was like, you know, like this is not a nice situation to be in at all. And luckily, when I was essentially like, you know, going and figuring out all of the university stuff, because back when I started studying in university, the first time I applied to TU Hamburg, I got a rejection. And to overturn that rejection, you have to submit a Widerspruch. And in that like entire process, I got to meet a lot of people from the Indian consulate, because I had to get my documents attested and so on. And from one of these people, like I saw that he was teaching English on YouTube, and he was like making, I think 30 euros a month or something. I said, that's very interesting, like that you just make a video once and you don't really have to do anything about it, and like it just makes money for you because it is adding value to people. Google is showing ads, and that's essentially a very nice way to live your life with a little bit more time freedom, and still make money on the side. So I really saw this as a way of like someday complementing the main part-time job that I was having. And again, when I started a part-time job, I was in tax class 5, because Alina was earning more money at that time, because she started working in the Indian consulate in Hamburg. And I was, I think, making 500 euros or something. She was making then 1500 euros. So of course I had to take the tax class 5, and then tax class 5, almost 50% of your amount gets cut. So I was like going home with like 220 or 230 euros in the end. So that was also like another thing, like, you know, what am I working for? Because I was technically working for 12 euros 50 per hour, and like most of the tax class 1 people, which are like single people, they don't have these high taxes at all. For tax class 5, like it just really gets reduced to half. And for me, like the 12 euros 50 just became like 6 euros 25, which is what? Which is like 1 euro, not even 1 euro, 10 cents per minute. So I think that's like a very, very low way to like sell your time. So that's why like I was like, okay, anytime I have free from the university and from the part-time job, I'm going to start making these YouTube videos. And that was first just to test the idea, because nobody was making these kind of videos about studying in Germany and like how it is in a higher educational hub and so on. I was the first one who started, and then once like there was another YouTuber who started right after me, and like he's also like pretty big. So after like 1 year completed almost, I think like in November or something, I saw another channel which started with the same thing, because I think our channel like really grew very well at that time. So then of course other people start seeing what is working, what isn't working, and then they also like, you know, start rolling in. But it's not really always a negative thing, because it also kind of like generates more awareness about the purpose that you're trying to educate people about. And that is like, you know, if you don't really see any kind of purpose or motivation in where you are being right now. Like, you can simply move to a new place, you can see a new surrounding, and maybe you like it better there. And for me, that place was Germany. Like, once I came to Germany, it was just like so many things changed. The mindset changed, how I used to work changed, how professional I used to be with things changed, punctuality changed, like the presentation style changed, all of these things, which were really, really helpful. So main thing I would say is, like, it's super important that when you are thinking about doing one thing, try to see if you can do another thing on top, because that is going to, of course, ease your burden in the longer run. And if you can do the second thing, see if you can also do a third thing. Don't be too rigid with whatever kind of schedules you plan, because life is very, very unpredictable. Things can happen all the time. So you might have to change the schedule, and many people who are into the mindset of a very rigid schedule, they just then fail to follow through. Then the third thing is, see what kind of things you can delay a little bit further. If you can delay them without any kind of like long-term cost to you, then it is fine to delay them a little bit so that you can come back to them and you can do the most important task at hand. Sleep, I think, is a fourth thing that you can say. Some people say, all right, like, when I'm super motivated, I can get by with less sleep. I've seen that. I've had those phases in my life to where I'm like sleeping for 4 hours and I'm completely fine. I'm able to work the next day too. But this is not really something that you want to do for a longer run, because it will definitely start to take some kind of toll on your health. So sleep is still important. But like, if you are not able to sleep like for 6 hours at once, I think like 4 hours, 5 hours is at least something like minimum you should have. Do some 5-hour like sleep or something at night, and then afterwards you also have a 2-hour or 1-hour nap during the day. So that also like kind of gets you covered. I don't really believe that you shouldn't nap during the day. I think there are people like who can be very, very energized after the nap, and there are people who get like really sloppy after it. So you really have to see what works the best for you. So this was a quick idea about how I managed these 3 things. And also, I think a bonus thing here in the end is, once you're starting your new business, never quit your full-time job or part-time job. Never, like, keep it as long as possible, because that is going to help you make decisions for the longer run in your business. For me, like, I did not quit my part-time job like till the business was like already covering our basic expenses and was also like making us some profit on top. So at that time I was like, okay, like things are running well, and now I really have to focus completely on the business so that I can grow it further. So I did that. That's pretty much it from my side. If you have any kind of questions and stuff, you can let me know in the comments, and I will see you in the next video.